Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. Today I'm here with a review of a book that just came out today. If you're watching this May 10th, so you can go and find it at your local bookstore. It is Breathe and Count Back from 10 by Natalia Sylvester. And I was offered a NetGalley art copy of it by someone at the publisher, and I jumped at the chance to read this young adult book the minute I read the description. It follows a young teenager, Veronica, as she navigates the world in Florida near Mermaid Cove, which is a kind of amusement park where they have young women perform the role of mermaids, and they perform kind of acts in this. And Veronica has always dreamed of being a mermaid and being one of the mermaids that performs at Mermaid Cove. However, she is an immigrant from Peru, and her parents are both immigrants. And before the story had started, they had clearly been in the U.S. illegally, and they had gone through a long, traumatic process of gaining residency and work permits for the U.S. By the time we start the story, that has already occurred, but one of the big themes in the story is that of trauma. And one of the traumas that Veronica and her family have gone through is this trauma of going through the American legal system and trying to gain legal status in the U.S. Her parents have clearly been traumatized by this, and so has Veronica, but they fear any contact with the authorities. The goal is for Veronica, as the oldest daughter, to get a good job, have a good profession, take the safe road when it comes to education and jobs. And Veronica is a senior about to graduate, and she's trying to figure out who she is, what she wants to do, but she's feeling very constrained by the expectations and trauma of her parents. Her younger sister has had a very different experience. And so, but the young sister is trying to understand, trying to relate, trying to help her out. It is her sister and her best friend that really pushed her to actually audition to become a mermaid at Mermaid Cove when an opening comes up. And Veronica just doesn't know how to deal with how to navigate what she wants to do versus what is expected of her. Because on the one hand, she knows why her parents want her to play it safe. She knows the value of each aspect of that, but she has this deep passion for swimming and for just really wanting to be part of something special like Mermaid Cove. So she has to really go against her parents' wishes to do that. Another element of trauma here is Veronica's disability. She has hip dysplasia. The author also has hip dysplasia. So while I can't talk about the disability representation, reading about that aspect of Veronica was just really wonderful. It has clearly caused trauma in the family because her parents over prepare for every eventuality that might come up as part of the hip dysplasia. They're anticipating surgery and basically like the worst case scenario, while also keeping Veronica in the dark. So Veronica is looking at the way her parents overreact, and she's not fully understanding it. She's been doing essentially kind of physical therapy by swimming, and that has been going really, really well for her. She feels comfortable, and her parents just really fear her being able to do any kind of physical activity. Even walking upstairs, anything like that, the parents freak out. And so whenever Veronica has shared anything about her desire to be a mermaid, they immediately shoot it down. Like, you can't, you're hip, blah, blah, blah. You can't have that kind of job because you're an immigrant, and we have to play it safe. And so in essence, her parents' overprotectiveness is harmful. It is harmful for Veronica and her youngest sister. And in addition, Veronica is learning how to navigate romantic relationships. A new family just moved in, and the boy is really interested in Veronica, and they have a connection. They're able to talk, but her parents will not let her be anywhere near boys because of an incident that happened in a different time. And so just trauma after trauma, layers of trauma. I related to this book so much. I think in part, I mean, I think some readers will read Veronica's story and like be mad at her parents. And I understand that. But I also saw so much of my parents, especially my mom and Veronica's parents. My mom was super overprotective, really paranoid, really about the harm that could come to us. And that caused some trauma for myself and my siblings, but it was not out of a place of like wanting to hurt. And this is the thing that a lot of children of immigrants have to work through, right? The way in which our parents hurt us by trying to protect us. It's a complex thing because they were never trying to cause us harm, but in their overprotectiveness, they can sometimes cause harm. And Veronica she carries with her that burden of being the oldest child in an immigrant family and having so much responsibility on her shoulders. And it's not fair because she's a kid and she's trying to figure out what she wants to do, what college she can go to, which college she can afford. And it's just her life is not like that of some of her peers, that where things like that might be easier. And so I just found it so relatable in that way. I loved Veronica. She makes some terrible decisions in this book that some readers will look at and think, no, don't do that. But I guess because I related so much to having overprotective parents and having to manage expectations versus what you want, I didn't judge her and her decisions. They felt reasonable to me, even though her communicating with her parents was clearly critical. Like those conversations needed to occur, and the parents needed to loosen up big time. But I also understood. I just understood why the parents were reacting the way they were and why Veronica was reacting the way she was. One of the things that happens with children or protective parents is that the children can become very good liars. We don't necessarily want to lie, but become very good at it because it's the only way to survive the overprotectiveness or to manage some of it. And so I just without spoiling anything, I just connected so much to everything Veronica was going through. And that's, on top of it is this issue of disability and her trying to manage and coming to terms with her body and what her body can and cannot do. And that's something that is like, I don't have to deal with hip dysplasia, but it's something that seeing her navigate that just felt really honest and beautiful, and knowing that the author also deals with hip dysplasia made it seem like it was an extra layer of beauty to the story of Veronica. Clearly the story is written and told with a lot of love. Like it just oozes off the page. And so I am just so glad that I got to read this book. And if you are into YA contemporaries with a little bit of romance, but mainly about an immigrant child trying to figure out her place in the world, I think this is a fantastic one. It was a 5-star read for me, and I hope that it is a 5-star read for anybody that picks it up as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.